What happens when a mistake, a stupid decision, a one-night stand turns into affair? Is it just two people not being able to stay away from one another because it is true love? Or is it all just selfishness? Well, let's talk about it, shall we? Hello there, you Sex and the City addicts. Don't worry, this is a safe space for all of us. We narrate, we analyze, we are very opinionated, and we try to pretend that we know better and would do better. Some of you while you're cleaning. Efficiency. We have a special guest also today, for those of you who didn't catch him in my last video. And he is very focused on making sure that, the setup is good. It's time to continue. What mess is Carrie creating right now? In the last video, we got very, very pissed. And I'm saying we because it makes me feel better. We left Mr. Big and Carrie getting back together. Not the, oh my God, they're back together, this is gonna be a disaster. It's more like they are cheating on their partners. They had to top how wrong their relationship can get. It's been a week since they did the deed. And Carrie is still with Aiden. Shocker. She hasn't told them anything and she just likes to pretend that nothing happened. So she's walking down the street, but a memory just flashes back. Her and Mr. Big passionately all over each other. She shakes it off and she goes to her friends for a dinner. Like a dinner party. Samantha is getting a new apartment and they need to celebrate. But by the end of the dinner, when she's alone with Samantha, she needs to let it off her chest.
I slept with Big last week. You're having an affair?
Samantha is not really shocked. It's giving more, oh, really? Who did what to who? Let me get on the scoop. Do you even say it like that? A part of me is thinking if Samantha is reacting so nonchalantly because she doesn't really believe in the Aiden and Carrie pairing rather than, Samantha being Samantha. She asks if they're having an affair, but Carrie reassures her that this was a one-night thing and it will never happen again. And she asks Samantha if this can stay between the two of them. She would not take the judgment. And right now, she's already feeling like the worst person for doing what she did. For doing it while having such a great boyfriend. Carrie, sweetie, if he would be such a great boyfriend, then I don't see how you could be cheating on him. There has to be something that is not working in this relationship for you to go back to your ex. Is Aiden just the good on the paper guy? I should be with him because he's every woman's dream. I'm not sure if I talked about it before, but like in general, the perfect guy on paper or he's so good and I should be with him never works. It never works. Are the reason your own traumas and your own toxic patterns are the reason the actual you're not compatible? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you shouldn't be with that person and you should just walk away. It's clear that Carrie is not that into him, even though she's trying to convince herself. But why would you walk away when you need to take care of your needs? And sometimes your needs are just a little bit selfish and, that's just how it is. Yes, I cheated on him. And yes, obviously there's something not working here, but also, do I really want to be single? It's kind of nice to have someone. You haven't done anything that men haven't been doing for centuries. That's right, people. Samantha knows the deal. I mean, if they do it, why shouldn't we do it? Because no one should do it. She's also interested if it was good. And Carrie, boy Carrie.
It was great, and it's not happening again.
She's very convincing. Here's the thing. If I put my 2 cents on it, because that's why you're here, right? To see what I have to say and then judge me. I wish Carrie wouldn't be so focused on, it will never happen again. This was a mistake. I'm such a bad person. And she would rather focus on why did it happen? What is actually happening between me and Aiden? Me, myself internally, why am I so drawn to Big? If she would have that approach, then she would look at the situation and say, look, this was bad. Clearly, I need to walk away from Aiden and I need some time for myself to figure shit out. If you need to be with someone else while you are in a committed relationship, it's not a mistake. You didn't just, oh my God, I tripped and fell. No, it's a signal to other problems. But the problem is, when you do the unthinkable, Your first instinct, that's how I'm trying to figure it out, what is happening, is how to make yourself feel better, how to fight against that guilt that you're feeling, how to fight against that shame. Instead of looking introspectively and saying, shit, this is bad, you are looking at it as, I need to make sure that I'm a good person and that I do whatever is needed for Aiden to feel good because this was a mistake. It should never happen. And that's it. Because you want to compensate the fact that you actually betrayed them, that you actually hurt them. Now, if I think about the scenario where the relationship is actually bad and you cheat with someone else because you don't really know how to handle the bad relationship or how to walk away from it. When you get together with the other person, what can happen is that pushes you even closer to the partner you are with right now. Maybe because you are actually triggering the fear of loss. Now you made it even more real that you might lose this person despite knowing that the relationship is not really good. Maybe there's still some attachment developed that at the end of the day, even though if it's not that good, the idea of not being with them at all just freaks you out. It's again not about the other person, even though you convince yourself it is, right? It's all for you. And then of course you also have people where, they get with another person and that's another confirmation to leave the partner they are with. Now, I don't know how many of those examples are, and I wish if it already had to happen, those examples would be more and more, because at least you're recognizing and then you're leaving that partner. The worst thing it is, I do it and then I want to make sure that I don't lose the partner that I have, like Carrie is doing right now.
How could it feel so good when it's so bad?
If she has such a great boyfriend at home, how come she keeps on thinking about Big? How come her and Big are coming together? It's like they have this thing, this thing that they just cannot resist. Samantha knows what the thing is. It's pheromones. Is it pheromones? Look, we are all just animals who get attracted to one another based on our smells. And until Aiden says, I love you to Carrie, she's practically free. Mary, before we lose our shit, let me just emphasize that it does look like Samantha is just saying these things to make Carrie feel better. So she is more like the supporting friend. I don't judge you. I'm here for you, which how good of a friend it is, yes and no, rather than Samantha totally dismissing Aiden and supporting, Carrie cheating with Big. And that's actually what Carrie needs. That's why maybe Carrie goes to Samantha. So it's almost like Carrie is seeking for other people to make her feel better because she knows that what she did is very, very wrong. So now she's just grasping for someone to tell her, it's not a big deal. It's okay. So many people do it. The thing is, Carrie does not want to be free. So she doesn't even get why she's sabotaging the relationship with Aiden. Something tells me that the thing is, Carrie wants to be with Big. Yes, Carrie doesn't want to be free, but Carrie actually wants to be with Big. That's how it has always been, and that's how it's gonna be for a long, long time. Despite her knowing that he's not the right guy, despite her knowing how he treats her, she still very much believes that there is something special between the two of them, that the two of them are meant to be. After her talk with Samantha, Carrie decides to go back home. I'm not sure if, it's a bit confusing. I think Aiden is living in his own apartment and Carrie in her own apartment, but they're all the time together. No, they're living together. I don't know, I'm confused. It's in the middle of the night. She knocks on the door and Aiden opens the door. She throws herself in his arms and she says, God, I missed you so much. Really, Carrie? Really? Did you really miss Aiden? Or is the guilt driving you to be so loving suddenly to him? Whatever it is, Carrie feels better. You see, as long as Aiden is near her, everything is good. Everything is peachy. But the storm is coming because Aiden needs to leave for a couple of days. What will she do? She doesn't feel really happy about it, but Aiden reassures her it's just gonna be a couple of days and he's gonna be back in no time. Now, Carrie is alone and she needs to somehow stop thinking about the night she spent with Big. it keeps on popping and making her glitch. People will start to think she's a robot malfunctioning. You know what the solution is? Busy, busy, busy. She is doing the spring cleaning of spring cleanings. She's organizing her shoes. She organizes her closet. But the second she stops doing things, boom, big in her head. So she does the only thing she feels can help her in this very moment. She finds her secret stash and she lights up a cigarette. It's so funny how the writing is always, when she falls back into one addiction, she needs to fall back also in the other. It almost shows us how Carrie never really lets go. Carrie always leaves some options open in case she changes her mind. And this can also hint at Carrie's own fear of commitment. Right now, Carrie is thinking about choices. Women from an early age were sold the idea of how they can be everything and have everything. But did this create the paradox of choice? When you don't want to actually commit to anything. If you commit to something, you're losing the possibility of this other thing. Maybe she herself cannot commit to Aiden because she was sold the idea that she can have it all, and that all is Mr. Big. Carrie has this little thing that she likes to do. It's a little bit quirky, but it's, every time there's a problem and she is in doubt, she looks externally. She looks to what is that outside reason that it's making me do what I'm doing, okay? Because it's not me, okay? We both know it is not me. It's not like me having some problems. No. It has to be the society. It has to be some kind of conditioning that I went through that is making me do the bad things. You see, her betraying Aiden, aka not really committing to him and sabotaging this relationship, is not about her own struggles and what she needs to deal with. It's about how feminists sold the idea that we can have it all, and now, how can she commit? Now, people, I analyzed the shit out of trying to understand why Carrie cannot commit to Aiden. Why? What's the problem? Now, one thing we already mentioned before is that Aiden is just not the right guy. It does not matter how much she wants to convince herself that all of this is perfect and this is sunshines and bees and honey. It just isn't, okay? It's good on paper, but that's it. The second thing is that, well, Carrie just might feel a bit too special for Aiden, She might feel like committing to Aiden would mean that she is settling because what she believes she should have is the status, the recognition, and Big is representing that high class. From here, we went a little bit more into the deeper waters, a bit more darker, a bit more, what does everything mean? And the first of these deep waters is that she is drawn to manipulation because of her own insecurities. Mary, we've heard it before. When you are in a relationship where everything is good, let's say there's attractiveness, there's compatibility, you treat each other with respect, but somehow you feel like something is missing. Well, what's missing could be the emotional roller coaster that you came to love, that you came to connect with true love. You know the saying, those who love also fight. How many of us got screwed by that belief, huh? Tradition. We talked about it in my last video when I was analyzing the Lily and Ryle interactions from the It Ends With Us. A man who is making you confused about how much he values you almost becomes the ultimate prize. Carrie is so obsessed with Big because he created this uncertainty about how worthy he sees her. So she craves to get that clarity, to get that confirmation. And this makes her feel that there is something more between her and Mr. Big versus her and Aiden. Because for her and Aiden, there's no push and pull. There's no something, emotional that drives her. Everything is quite calm. So she doesn't see it as special, while Big tapping into this push and pull, tapping into her craving being good enough, that makes it feel like this is more real. When in reality, the only thing that is real is you needing therapy. So at the end of the day, it's not about Big, it's not about the person, it's about Carrie trying to fix or resolve her own doubts about proving her word to herself. And that's what makes it, there's something more here, not Big being something special. And the last thing is what we kind of mentioned before. She is actually afraid of commitment. Oh, yes, Mary. I think some of you already maybe even expressed it in the comments. I kind of have a vague memory of someone talking about this. Did I also already talk about it? I don't know. The gist is that despite Carrie wanting commitment, wanting the one, she actually doesn't really want to commit. She wants to half commit. So when she's with Aiden, this commitment is very definite. It's almost like the end point. Big never fully committing could also allow Carrie to avoid true commitment and intimacy. Now, where it gets a little bit tricky is, despite Carrie maybe having a fear of commitment, what she does crave is validation. What she does crave is emotional stability. And that's where Big flops, because he cannot give her that. What do you think, Mary? Which one of these is it? What is happening with Carrie? What is happening with this storyline and this writing? What is driving Carrie to do things that she is doing? Let me know in the comments below. Or maybe you have a fifth reason. Like, I really tried to understand it, and this is what I came up with. Okay. By this point, Carrie even filed all of her articles she has ever written just to keep Big out of her mind. It is not working, Biz. And now, the solution that will end it all. Okay. She calls Mr. Big. Yes, Carrie is genius. Mr. Big is actually happy to hear Carrie. But it's more like in a friend that I haven't seen in ages is calling me and I'm like, oh my God, where have you been? It's giving that vibe. But Carrie keeps it simple. There is only one reason why is she calling Mr. Big.
It was just a physical thing that happened. It can't happen again.
Listen to this, people. Listen to this. She's calling him to let him know that this was a one-night stand and it will never happen again. Should we take a pause? Should I let you digest that a little? She is calling him to let him know that this was her decision. Okay, look, if she would actually believe it, she wouldn't have the need to call him, okay? So it's clear she doesn't believe it. And she wants to kind of trying to understand, where does Big stand? Does he also see this as a one-night stand, or if there is something more? What if deep down, Carrie does believe that there is something very special between the two of them, and that's why what happened. She wants to kind of see where Big stands.
Are you wearing glasses? You sound like you're wearing glasses.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you can bet on something, you can bet on Big not taking Carrie seriously. He's consistent. On the other hand, he's totally right. Why would he take her seriously? Who in the right mind would need to tell you what they decided? We don't see Big reaching out to Carrie at all. And at this point, I guess it's been 10 days since they've been together. So it's clear that her call is a bit stupid. It can happen again. You are married. Oh, for the love of... Carrie, sweetie, take some time off. Maybe go to Greece, or even find a river, sit next to it and just breathe. Take it all in. Think about life. What do you mean he's married? That's why it shouldn't happen. Yes, of course. In hindsight, no, it shouldn't marry. You are committed to other people. It shouldn't happen because the two of you shouldn't happen. If you feel like the two of you should happen, then you leave Aiden, he gets a divorce, and voila. He's not married anymore. You're not committed anymore. Did you do a shitty thing? 100%. Are you at least doing the right thing right now? Yes, that would be a good thing. But her putting it on him, that because he's married, they cannot do this anymore, is a little bit of, it's a little bit of a cop-out, to be honest. Honestly, to me, all of this looks like Carrie is just trying to play into the romance thing. Like, oh, we cannot do this despite being so attracted to one another. Fairy tales. Good boy. What do you think about Carrie and Big? I know, he did a sigh.
I'm aware of that. But come on. It was pretty fucking amazing, wasn't it?
Big is focused on one thing, okay? Big is focused on how the two of them had that fine time. Do we need to say it again? For all the people in the back that haven't heard it. Big is an asshole. Big doesn't show even an ounce of guilt or shame or empathy to his freaking wife in this case. He's like, I'm aware of that. But wasn't it amazing? Boy, please. Like, Big is all about himself. Carrie at least has some consciousness. Do they do both bad things? 100%. But one of them at least has some kind of commitment to the other person, while the other one is just like, let's not talk about that, okay? What are you wearing? Idiot. Carrie is annoyed with him because that's not the point. They should both know and be mature enough to rise above the physical attraction and do what's right. Oh my God. You know what? I should make myself popcorn and just watch it play it out, because would you even say to this? They end up fucking again. Yep, just like that. All in all, everything is ridiculous. To be honest, the whole storyline is so painful. What's obvious again is that Carrie likes to live in her la la land. She likes to be like, doo. This has nothing to do with her. She also calls it a physical desire because obviously that makes it less real. If she distances herself from emotional involvement, then she can just blame it again on human tendencies, right? Just animal instinct. They can't help it. All the responsibility goes out the door. The responsibility of going back to a toxic person and the responsibility of actually acknowledging that her relationship with Aiden is not that good. To top it all, they're actually having sex in Carrie's apartment. And Big doesn't really like that because he can smell the guy on the sheets. Yes, Big is annoyed that he has to smell Aiden in the bed where he is effing his girlfriend. Let's pretend that Big would be, truly in love with Carrie and them coming back together is a sign of true love. How come he doesn't have any empathy towards the other people in this situation? Doesn't that show that he is a very selfish person, a very self-centered person? Yes, you can feel like this love is so strong that you cannot resist it. But if you're actually a good person, if you're actually a decent person, you do have some kind of feeling about the other people involved. He has zero respect to Aiden. He has obviously zero respect to his wife. But at the same time, he also shows how much respect he has actually towards Carrie. He does not even for a second acknowledge that Carrie does feel bad about Aiden. In Carrie's mind, this is, we cannot stay away from each other bullshit. In Big's mind, this is, we are bad people who do bad things and I like it. It is also interesting. If we play with the idea that he doesn't respect Aiden, therefore doesn't really respect Carrie, how come he doesn't have that same approach for himself? Does he see himself as the douche? Or is his actions justifiable because he's unhappy in the relationship in any case, which was what he was saying to her before, right? Where does this put him? Overall, all of this is very disgusting, if I'm being very, very honest with you. And this writing actually took away any chance of trying to understand the gray areas of Carrie's behavior and her connection with Big. Because at this point, all I can see is, disgusting. Both of them. It's really difficult for me to try to understand how psychologically everything, because at this point it's just like, no, you're two people who are cheating on their partners and you don't give a fuck about anyone else. The only difference is that Carrie is trying to justify her action by this is love. As Carrie is lying next to Big, she does make it a point that this was really the last time. Despite this feeling so good and so easy, why wouldn't it be easy to escape in the fantasy? It's back to the old days. Forgetting that the old days were pretty crap also. But now Aiden is back from his trip and Carrie rushes to take off the sheets because, who knows, maybe he's gonna smell Big on these. Aiden is so happy to see Carrie, and as they passionately kiss, he tells her that being away made him realize how much he missed her. He looks in her eyes and he says,
I love you, Carrie. Is that too much?
Yes, Aiden, it is. Not for the reasons that you think, though. Carrie collects herself quickly and she's like, no, I love you too, Aiden. Sure, we love everything. We love everyone. The dog, the sex, the cheating, the sheets. What's there not to love? All just big fucking love all around us. It does look like Aiden feels a little bit doubtful of how Carrie said it back, but he dismisses it. He picks her up and they have sweet, sweet love. Now, Carrie feels awful, but she also feels so good. You see, She's lovable. Yeah, craving validation is a bitch. Carrie is back in her fairy tale with Aidan, and she finally got over her addiction. Until the addiction finds her back. Ring, ring. It is the one and only Mr. Big. I need to see you. Come downstairs or I'm gonna come up. Carrie is shocked and she pretends that it's Miranda and she kind of takes Pete out for a walk. Listen to this, people. Carrie takes Pete out for a walk. If that's not sus. Big is waiting downstairs and she is pissed. How can he just come like that and just whenever he wants, he can come here and have sex with her, and then when he wants, he can go back and have a home life with his wife.
I can't do this anymore. Sleep with two people at the same time. I'm gonna tell her tonight.
Wait, what? People? I'm not gonna deny it. I was a little bit shook. I was shook that Big actually wants to end this affair. Then again, he was already miserable in the relationship with Natasha before, so maybe this is his push, I guess. What's even more surprising is that Carrie does not want to hear about it. Carrie does not want to even play with this idea of him telling Natasha, of him hurting people like that, of him messing everything up.
What? No! Married men don't just leave the...
The tables have turned, ladies and gentlemen. The tables have turned and we don't know how to handle it, okay? I am on Big's side in this case, to be honest. At least he's trying to do something. But Carrie does not feel that this is fair. He cannot just show up in her life like that and just fuck everything up. He reminds her that it takes two to tango. In the heat of the moment, Carrie lets go of Pete. Obviously, she's not a dog person, otherwise she wouldn't do that. And Pete runs for it. He is running. And people, let me tell you, Pete needs some training and he needs more exercise outside, okay? Pete is running down the street. Carrie is running down the street behind him in her heels. And Big is following them. And all I'm thinking is, what in the athletic cast is this? I mean, damn. They've been running. She loses the sight of Pete, and despite Big wanting to help, she does not find his presence helpful at all. He should not do anything, not say anything, and go back to his wife. It's been 3 hours, and Carrie is still walking down the street in pouring rain, trying to find Pete. She decides to go home. And when she opens the door, Pete is at home, okay? Pete finds his way home. And Aidan was a bit worried where Carrie is, you know? What happened? Excuse me, what? What kind of boyfriend are you? Can you imagine your partner taking your dog out and the dog returns back on its own? Returning back on its own is already a red flag for me. Like, what the hell happens? Being 3 hours? Are we serious? Are they trying to show us something, or is this just really, really bad writing? It does not make sense at all. Carrie starts to cry and she feels like the worst person. But Aidan is comforting her. Like, Pete is a dog and, dog run away and they come back. And again, I do not know how Aidan has a dog. Dogs don't just run away and come back. They're not like cats. Now, despite Aidan comforting Carrie, he does have a question for her. He doesn't want to be paranoid, but at the end of the day, she did offer to take Pete out. And it's a little bit sus. Carrie takes a deep breath. She goes to her bed. She sits down and she's trying to collect her thoughts or her courage to maybe come clean to Aidan.
Are you cheating?
Carrie is looking at him and maybe she was about to tell him the truth, but Aidan interrupts her because, that's how you do. I can smell the smoke on you. Okay, he's suspicious about smoking. Good, yes. That also explains how calm Aidan was asking her about cheating. Like, when I was watching it, I was like, you are a bit too calm asking someone if they are cheating on you. Or this is level of matureness I cannot even grasp. Or you're a sociopath. But now it makes sense. He was suspicious of her smoking. Carrie is relieved. She admits she is smoking again, but she really, really wants to quit. We can safely assume that she is also talking metaphorically. Aidan understands and he hugs her. It's gonna be okay. Biz, that's what you think. Okay, Aidan, that's what you think. And it's actually sad. It's champagne and strawberries. Mr. Big waiting in a fancy hotel. And Carrie coming dressed like a freaking spy. If you're looking for the latest, I'm hiding from my boyfriend to sleep with my ex-married man outfit, Carrie's got you covered. Despite all the guilt she felt for Aidan, she continues to cheat with Mr. Big. She only has 3 hours though, so they better get to business. This is how it's been with the two of them. They plan, they meet, they do a quickie, and then they separate. And Carrie's also reflecting. At the beginning, it started all fancy, but now it's literally just booking a motel and making it fast. All in all, everything looks very physical. It's all about them selfishly indulging in each other. Though Carrie is making sure they are picking hotels where no one can recognize them. Big, on the other hand, doesn't give a fuck anymore. If people see them, people see them. He is over it. Which makes me wonder, why the F is he still in this marriage? Why is he not getting a divorce? If the worry is that Carrie doesn't want this to get out and so on, he could leave Natasha without exposing the affair. He could just normally say that he doesn't want to be married anymore, he doesn't feel about her the way he used to, and basically divorce from her. Why does he need Carrie's permission? Does it reveal Big's own insecurities? At the same time, he's also taking away the responsibility from himself. Because if he's putting like the pressure on Carrie, he's almost like, well, if it was me, I would do it the right way. You're the one who wants to keep the charades. And that's kind of immature, right? You don't need to keep the charade, at least not with your wife, if nothing else. When it comes to Carrie, I genuinely do not know what is up with this freaking storyline. What is up with her still staying with Aidan and cheating on him with Big? If we buy into this idea that, she believes that her and Big are everything, why is she still staying with Aidan, and why doesn't she go with Big leaving Natasha? I mentioned it before. Maybe she doesn't really trust that Big will actually do that. So for her, the stakes are a bit higher maybe. Carrie still seems to enjoy the relationship she has with Aidan for whatever reason. And maybe she's thinking, yeah, you're gonna leave your wife and I'm going to leave Aidan, but then suddenly, because you're never actually ready to commit, you're going to change your mind and I'm going to be left with nothing. That's the pattern from the past, right? Carrie willing to do whatever to be with Big, while Big not really. So at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with Aidan. It has nothing to do with the relationship. It is all about her and what will she lose if she, trusts Big. And when it comes to Big, it kind of seems the same thing. It is not about him leaving Natasha and, not being happy in this relationship and accepting that. It's potentially about him also being alone at the end of the day if Carrie doesn't leave Aidan. Carrie decides to come clean. Yes, Biz, she decides to come clean to Miranda. There are levels. Let's keep calm. Here's the thing. The last thing Carrie wants is to tell Miranda about this because she knows how Miranda will judge her. But she needs to get out of this. She needs someone who will look her in the eye and say, Biz, you need to walk away. Samantha is a little bit too much forgiving, okay? She asks Miranda not to hate her because she already feels bad. And it's relieving when Miranda says that she doesn't. Carrie explains that this affair has been going on for 3 weeks and she feels stuck. She needs someone to pull her out. She's afraid if she continues this, one day it will all blow up in her face and, quote, it will never be what it was supposed to be. Interesting. It will never be what it was supposed to be. Is this a hint of Carrie not wanting for her and Big to come together after this because it interferes with her fairy tale of how perfect for each other they are or how this is true love? If people find out about this affair, she becomes the woman who is cheating on her boyfriend with a married man. And their love is nothing else but disgusting betrayal of other people. How can she continue to live in a fairy tale, in the belief that the two of them are meant to be, if no one else is going to see it that way, if she herself is not going to be able to see it that way. Because once this gets out, it becomes real. It becomes real that they are just two cheaters. She also tells to Miranda that she's afraid that Big wants to be with her just because he cannot have her. What if the second she leaves Aiden, Big won't be as interested anymore? What if Carrie, on some level, does recognize that Big only came after her when he saw her with Aiden, when she was unavailable? If we think about when they met, at this furniture store and so on, he was already unhappy in the marriage, but he didn't reach out to Carrie. He didn't try to find her until he saw that she is with someone else. What about if Carrie believes that the minute she will leave Aiden, that will be the minute she is no longer interesting to Big? Maybe on some level, Carrie doesn't want to leave Aiden because she knows that being with Aiden is what makes Big want her. And if that is true, get some help. But right now, Carrie just wishes if everything would just stop and no one would get hurt. So she can go back to Aiden and she could have a good relationship with him. Miranda tells her that she needs to stop, and Carrie agrees.
I'm stopping.
She did use present continuous, so what? Things take time. Carrie is back in bed with Aiden and he is kissing her. But as he's kissing her, he's making these sounds. He's enjoying it. And Carrie is getting the ick. I know, ladies and gentlemen, it has come to that level. She is getting the ick. And you know what happens once you get the ick? There is no turning away from icking. What does that even mean? The ick, ladies and gentlemen, the ick, Mary, is when you don't want to be with the person anymore, but because you don't have the courage to actually walk away, or like in Carrie's case, she doesn't find that would be the best decision for her because it's too beneficial to be with him, you start getting annoyed by everything they do. Every little thing. Things that you used to love suddenly feel very, very yucky. Especially when it comes to kissing, hugging, being together, spending time together. All of that suddenly gets very, very, very much on your nerves. And Carrie is obviously feeling the ick. Is she feeling the ick because she feels guilty, or is she feeling the ick because this is making her realize that she really actually isn't into Aiden as much as she thinks she is? I don't know. Whatever it is, one thing leads to another and Aiden is out of the bed. But the second he gets up and he starts putting his pants on because, he's like, what the fuck? Carrie jumps after him and she's like, I'm sorry. I'm just, I'm like going through some things and I love the sound that you make. It's not you, it's me, I promise. Of course it's not him. But then again, maybe it is also him. It's again this thing of feeling guilty, feeling bad that she is treating him that way because, if he knew what she's doing behind the closed doors, oh my God, that's what's giving to me, right? That she wants to then quickly, make sure that, no, sorry, it's not your fault. Of course it isn't his fault, but it would be so much more beneficial if in these moments she would recognize that she needs to end it with Aiden. But no, she focuses on, oh my God, I'm such a bad person. Let me fix this and let me be all over him again. Now, it is obvious that he is a little bit angry. So at one point, Carrie grabs his hand and she's like, say it's okay. Tell me it's okay. Carrie is only focused on making sure that he's not mad at her. Eventually, Aiden kind of calms down and he's confused, but at the end of the day, he understands if Carrie needs some time. So they kind of decide to take some space. By space, I just mean he went home and he's going to call her the next day. So okay. The space that Carrie needs, she's in a lobby. She's waiting for Big, who is checking in at the reception, and she has, again, the spy glasses because I guess that's what you do. A man approaches her and he's like, how much? Excuse me? How much for the sex?
I see you here before.
You know how this makes Carrie feel? She's not a sex worker. She walks up to Big and she's like, we are out of here. I'm not gonna keep hiding here in a motel. And as she is walking from this hotel, she bumps into no other but Charlotte, the third friend, the friend who is about to get married. Now, Charlotte is happy to see Carrie, but she wonders, like, what are you doing in this neighborhood? Big comes out after Carrie. Charlotte looks at Carrie, and Carrie's looking at Charlotte, and Big is looking at Charlotte, and it is clear shit is about to go down. Charlotte understands what is happening, and she cannot believe it. She storms away from Carrie, and Carrie basically goes after her. Now, we see them in the apartment, and I'm gonna tell you this. Charlotte is a special character. And this time, I loved her the most. I can appreciate Samantha trying to be there for Carrie, not making her feel bad. I can appreciate Miranda having a half and half approach. But what I do really, really appreciate, what I love, is the fact that Charlotte does not have even an ounce of understanding for Carrie. For Charlotte is very clear.
You think about what would happen to you if she found out. You don't think about her. She's just the idiot wife. You don't know anything about her.
Now, is she projecting because she's the one getting married? But nevertheless, all in all, I loved how Charlotte wasn't giving anything to Carrie. You see, Carrie tried to get some sympathy for Charlotte, Well, don't be so judgmental. I already feel awful about myself. And Charlotte is like, bitch, you should. You should feel awful about yourself. What you're doing is not okay. Yes, queen. Oh my God, that sounds so lame. But yes, queen, okay? That's exactly what people should tell Carrie into her face. Sweetie, as much as you're suffering, you're still doing a very, very bad thing, and there is no reasoning and sympathy. As Charlotte is pointing out, not only are you doing that to your significant other, but you are actually doing that to another woman. Carrie is very upset by that.
I am not that woman.
Yes, sweetie, you are. So this is where the conversation between the two of them ends, and we see Carrie lying in bed. In Big's and Natasha's bed. They went from motels into Big's apartment. Now she's lying there and Big is getting ready, and he also tells her that, if she needs anything, you can take your time. Natasha is out. There's also food in the fridge. You can take a shower and blah, blah, blah. Carrie, while lying there in the bed, she's like, oh my God, can I feel even more like a Like, here's the thing. What I'm kind of pissed with this writing and the character, how Carrie is behaving, is it's almost like Carrie keeps deciding to do the bad thing, but then she also constantly keeps wanting people to tell her that she's not a bad person. It's like, honey, you cannot have it both. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Don't do the bad things, but then you're like, am I really that bad? Yes, you are. If you accept it, you might actually grow from it and do something differently. Big looks at Carrie and he's like, why are you doing this to yourself? I guess for Big it's very easy. Just enjoy it. What? We're having an affair. Have fun. And Carrie says that she thinks they should stop seeing each other. Now, Big is a little bit mad. Like, why? Why do you want to stop seeing each other right now? She takes his hand and she shows his wedding band. Because you're married. Again, I'm not going to repeat myself, but we both know this is getting really, really ridiculous, okay? Yes, it's because he's married. Just cut it out.
All right, hand me the phone. I'm going to call her right now. Hand me the phone.
That would be ridiculous.
What are you going to do? Are you going to call your wife, tell her that you're in love with me and you're getting a divorce? Pretty suggestive, don't you think? Now, what's even more interesting is Big doesn't really answer Carrie. Big does not say, yes, Carrie, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell her I'm getting a divorce because I don't love her anymore and I'm in love with you. But no, Big doesn't do it. What he thinks is the problem is that Carrie does not want to actually leave Aidan. That's why she doesn't want him to call his wife. It's not about him and Natasha. It's about her and Aidan.
And if you really wanted to tell her, you would have told her by now.
What the fuck? You told me not to tell her.
Now we can see, and it also confirms the theory we had before, that Carrie doesn't trust Big. Carrie believes if he would actually want to have a divorce, he would do it. Now, there is a little bit of a slip that Carrie made. You see, she said you would have told her by now, which gives Big an out to say, well, no, because you're the one who told me not to say to her. And that's exactly what he does, putting the blame on Carrie. What she should have said is, you would have done it with me or without me. Now that would give them both a chance to actually acknowledge what is driving both of them. But right now, what they're left with is Carrie being the one who is blocking Mr. Big telling Natasha. Carrie hands the phone to Big and she says, "Here, call her."
If I make that call, are you going to be there for me?
Precisely. Big is only going to do this if Carrie is going to be there, because he's a big freaking baby. He needs another woman to hold his hand while he has the courage to stop using the other person. Because you see, they are both selfish, as I said. But Carrie, she's genuinely, she thinks there's something missing, obviously, happy in the relationship. But Big has been bored with Natasha since, they met at the furniture store. So why are you still staying with her? There's literally no reason than the fact that you are a middle-aged man who is afraid to be alone. Big is selfish as they get. Think about it. He doesn't even like being in the marriage with Natasha, but he doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about how Natasha is then feeling also in the marriage because he's the victim. He's the one who's staying despite not wanting. That is a very dangerous person. That you can come to that level, acknowledging that you want to leave your wife, but only if the other person is gonna stay there. Otherwise, you're just gonna keep staying with your wife despite being very miserable. Wow. And that also tells you that a person like that is all about themselves at the end of the day. Even if he would leave Natasha to be with Carrie, that relationship wouldn't be any different. It was never any different. When they were together before, it was all about him. He is with Natasha, it's again all about him. And I guess Carrie on some level knows that. She just likes also the fairy tale aspect of it, which is also at risk right now because how can they be a fairy tale true love story when they are just hooking up behind their partner's back? And this also made me think about how we often get tricked by love, or in this case, how many of us watch the series, and when we see Big, saying to Carrie that he would be with her, we automatically think that, oh my God, he's actually in love with her. He is a good person. There's a halo effect happening. Just because he says that he wants to be with Carrie does not make him automatically a person that is right for Carrie. His selfishness still remains. How he's treating other people still remains. Just because you love someone, and he might very well love Carrie, it doesn't mean that you're automatically also going to treat her well. Carrie asks him if he's really ready to do this, to do the real life, to do just the two of them with no hiding, no excitement. And again, Big never answers that question. Big never says, yes, I really want to do this. I really want to try to have a real committed relationship with you. No, he just asks her, Carrie, in or out? I do believe that a character like Big, if he would really love Carrie, if he would really want to commit and so on, he would have no problem in actually reassuring her. He would have no problem in sitting down and talk about it and, kind of figure out how to go from here, how they can both feel safe. Him never really answering what Carrie is asking and him just being pushy almost shows that he actually knows that Carrie's not gonna say yes. It's almost like he's putting the responsibility on Carrie, knowing that Carrie won't actually take that decision because there's too much at risk. But that's how he can then be the good guy in this situation. Big does what Big knows how to do. He never offers clarity. He never actually offers an answer, which allows Carrie to think that he would do it, right? Because if he still pushes me, that I need to give him an okay to call Natasha, then that, I guess, means that he would actually do real life with me, when in reality, he never really said it. Carrie says that she needs more time.
I'm calling her Monday.
So Big doesn't have the capacity to reassure Carrie and for them to actually have a conversation about how will they continue this, but he does pressure Carrie in making her decision when it comes to Aiden. I call sus. He leaves the apartment and she stays behind. She takes a shower and she is taking some food from the fridge. She's looking around and she's trying to learn about Natasha. I mean, Charlotte's words kind of stuck with her. She really does not know anything about Natasha. And as she's looking around, Natasha comes into the apartment. Carrie quickly tries to grab her things, and as she's trying to get out, Natasha sees her. They start running. Natasha is screaming, "I see you, Carrie."
I knew you were having an affair, but not in my house.
Wait, what? Natasha knew Big was cheating with Carrie. She just didn't think it's in the apartment. Again, what is this writing? You know, a part of me feels like when we put these stories in and these narratives, how Natasha as a wife knows, so you don't need to actually do anything. She already accepted it, is on one hand very much a reality. Like, I've heard people do that. Women knowing that their partner is cheating and they still stay with them for whatever reason. On the other hand, it does feed even more into this narrative how it is okay to be with your husband if he cheats on you. I don't know. They kind of messed the character of Natasha with this one, if I'm being honest, or maybe even not. Like, she's young. Like, Big is double her age. And who knows what kind of manipulation is happening there, right? But basically, she's running after Carrie. Carrie is running away. And at one point, Natasha falls and kind of hits her head. She busts her lip and breaks her tooth while running after Carrie. So Carrie stops. She comes back. She helps her up. And she calls the taxi and they rush to the hospital. At the hospital, Carrie is in the waiting room and Big walks in. Carrie explains what happened with Natasha and she needs to go. Big stops her and then he says, "Thank you, Carrie. I'll call you." Carrie turns around and she says, "For what?"
We're so over. We need a new word for over.
Now, the only logical reason, from my perspective, why would Carrie react that way is just the confirmation of the theory that this actually now broke the illusion of what her and Mr. Big could actually be, which confirms again that Carrie is not about Big, it's about the idea of the love that she can have with Big. And the idea or the dream that she created of the image of who the two of them are. And this is now broken, so for her, everything is broken because this cannot be anything more than just two people cheating. And that's not what I signed up for. I don't know. I find it very suspicious that Carrie, being so in love with Big as a person, would not take this opportunity to make sure that the two of them are together. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about it. As Carrie is walking out, Big stands up and he calls her again. Carrie. She turns around and there is like a minute. Like really a minute of them just looking at each other. And there's almost this feeling of she's waiting for him to say something, but nothing happens. So she just turns around and walks away. Again, why did Big not say, "No, this is okay. I wanted to leave her. I want to be with you. We can do this together." Is it bad writing or does it show that that was not really Big's intention at the end of the day? Like he does not want to actually give commitment to Carrie. Carrie comes back home and there he is. Aiden is sitting by the table and basically waiting on her. And she reflects on it. She did find a way how to get out of this situation.
And I've made it home.
Whew. Now, Mary, what are your thoughts on all of this? How did you see this play out? I don't know if I haven't said it yet. It was so painful to watch this, to be honest. It was disgusting. It was yuck. I don't know why they had to put this in, but at the same time, it also gave us a lot of insight on how wrong the relationship or this love between the two of them is. It's so filled with other things that are actually driving the both of them that there's really no space for true love. It really isn't. And also, did this writing, this storyline make you lose some faith in Carrie? Make you gain faith in Big? Or were you like, what the fuck just happened? Let me know your thoughts. How did the characters develop in your eyes? Or not develop? Until next time, remember, trust your individuality.